Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of PD and PDubs Unscripted. It's great to be with you, everybody. PD, what's going on?
Not much, PDubs. It's good to see you in your fall look here, not your summer same shirt.
Yes,
for those watching on the YouTube.
I made sure that I did not pull out the standard podcasting polo.
Did you really think about that this morning?
No, I didn't.
Okay. I'd say you're putting too much into it if you are.
Yeah, no, so I'm glad to have to show a variety of wardrobe, just so people don't get to be concerned about me for no reason.
Well, you are pretty stylish.
Well, hardly. But when you got a look going on, you might as well go with it, right? I mean, it's like, whatever works.
It makes it easy as long as it's clean, right? It's all good to go.
That's right. Absolutely. So, beautiful day outside after a rainy day yesterday, but we sure needed it.
Yeah, I was like, what is this stuff coming from the sky?
I know it. And, I waited for a break in the day to do a little Mondays Are for the Dogs, and...
Did you find that break?
We did. It was in the evening, around 6:30.
Okay, 'cause I think I did see when I was scrolling Facebook briefly that you had, and I forgot where you were at for this one.
Yeah, we were over at the Riverfront Park in Algonquin, right by Port Edwards.
Okay, my favorite.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And probably not too far from St. John's Algonquin.
No. Shout out to fellow LCMS Church. Ding, 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 ding.
Woo, go St. John's Algonquin. But so it's a beautiful day outside. I went to grab something to eat. I was like, ooh, this is nice outside.
I know. Yeah, I did the same. Got a little Subway. It's free cookie day.
Oh, yeah. Did you walk over there? Or...
No, I drove.
Okay.
I used Gwen's van. So,
okay.
Yeah. So, so I went and got a sandwich for Gwen and I, and I'm thinking, okay, they're all saying free cookie day. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm ordering 2 sandwiches. Should I get 2 cookies?
I don't know.
And so I asked.
Was it Sam?
Sam was there, but he wasn't helping me.
Okay.
And the guy goes, oh, yes, you get 2 free cookies. So white macadamia nut.
I like their just standard chocolate chip.
Do you?
So now that makes me wonder, okay, if you say you get 2 sandwiches, you get 2 cookies. If you do 2 6-inch subs instead of 1 foot long.
Oh, you should get 1 cookie. I would contend.
Well, I don't know. That's 2 different sandwiches. What if I say I want 1 6-inch meatball, 1 6-inch, buffalo chicken? It's 2 different sandwiches.
Well, here's what I noticed on the lady next to me. She ordered a 6-inch, and the guy said, "No cookie for you.
No cookie,
no
soup,
cookie,
no soup for you.
No cookie for her." And she said, "I know," and because she had a 6-inch.
So it must be the foot long.
It's only a foot long.
Maybe people had my sneaky idea of getting 2 6-inch ones.
Game in the system.
And you get 2 free cookies.
I'll tell you, people will go to any length.
That feels like
a
Kramer type of thing to do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'd like a foot long, half turkey, the other 1/2 roast beef.
But yeah, I haven't been to Subway for a while. I forgot about the free cookie day on Tuesday.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about it too until I was standing in line and I heard them talking about cookies, and of course my ears perked up.
They have good cookies. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm a fan of the softer cookies.
Yeah, I like them too. They're a little chewy, so I like that.
Right, because there's one podcast I was listening to, I'm just trying to look it up. They were doing like a draft, because they draft things every Monday, and they were drafting like, let me find here, like desserts or like sweets. It's a dessert draft. And they had a debate on how you like your chocolate chip cookies. You like them crunchy or you like them soft? And the one guy was, which I agree, he liked the softer ones. The other guys were kind of focused on they like them a little more crunchier.
Yeah, I kind of, it has to be I'm in a particular mood, but I would say I like the soft, just done ones. The warm, soft chocolate chip cookies I like, but I also do like the hard, crunchy ones too. So I don't know. I
think I like the soft and chewy.
I think for dunking in milk, it's the hard one. For non-milk dunking activity,
the soft. Yeah, I'm not a big milk dunker for my cookies, so maybe that's why.
Man, you don't know what you're missing.
I've done it before.
Come on.
I just don't. It's not my thing.
Embrace the milk.
Well, I like milk.
Embrace the dunk.
So are we getting a sponsorship by Subway with all this promotion?
We should. Yeah, especially, we're calling out Sam, the owner down here in Palatine. Hello, Sam.
If you listen to this, probably not. But I'll be honest.
Sam is so nice.
He is.
When you go in there, he's like, hello.
He is a really nice guy and always friendly and always jokes around, I feel.
Yeah, but I don't know. Sam is a taskmaster with his people because he's like, foot-long marinara, make now. And then next please. And then you jump in front. And he's barking out orders down the sandwich
he's like
line.
The guy from Seinfeld, the soup guy.
Oh, yeah. He gets everybody a little tense in that sandwich making row. And but to us as customers,
he's top notch.
He is. Yeah, he remembers everybody.
Yeah, because I'll admit I've probably been going more to Potbellies over Subway.
Okay.
I don't know. I do like Potbellies. I like their meatball sandwich. I think because there's a little less tomato chunks in their sauce for the meatball sandwich.
Okay. All right. You don't like chunks.
No, not a tomato person.
Tomato chunk guy. I've only been to Potbellies maybe twice in my life. They're good. I just never think about it though.
And I do think Subway has the better chips option because I like the jalapeno chips.
Okay.
That's my go-to there.
All right. I'm a Doritos classic nacho Dorito guy.
Okay.
But I like the variety. I was doing a lot of the Sun Chips, trying to be healthy a while ago.
It's kind of contradictory when you go to a place like that.
It's like, let's see. I'm going to be very thoughtful about my diet today as I get a Philly cheesesteak with a lot of Southwest Chipotle sauce just layered over it. I'll have the Sun Chips
On a foot-long...
Yeah. On white Italian bread. I'll have the Sun Chips, thank you. I will feel good about myself.
I go with the Italian herb and cheese as my go-to bread there. I've done the flatbread. That's okay, but it's not the same.
Not done the flatbread option.
That might be the healthiest when you get your Sun Chips.
No, and I look at the flatbread and I think, it's flatbread. No, thanks. If I want a pita, I'll order a gyro.
Okay.
And, slather me some gyro sauce.
The tzatziki sauce?
Yeah, tzatziki
I'm
sauce.
not a tzatziki fan.
Yeah. I like it on the side. That way I can apply it as desired.
Yeah, I don't know. And I think tonight, I'm going to have to go to Culver's to help support our school for
There
the
you go.
PTL.
PTL over at Culver's in Palatine on Rand Road.
Right.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, another Palatine shout out. And I don't know, people love themselves some Culver's as a burger joint.
Yeah. My dear wife Gwen loves Culver's burgers. I only go because she goes. And I typically gravitate to the sourdough
Really?
one. Yeah.
And I would never have pegged you as a sourdough guy.
I like my sourdough. And they got the grilled onions. So I feel like I'm eating a patty melt, kind of.
Ah, see, I like a patty, but no onions.
But then it's not a patty melt.
Well, it's a patty melt with no onions.
Oh, no. No. That's like saying I want a cheeseburger with no cheese.
Well, have you ever gone to a Burger King and done that?
No.
We did that for a scavenger hunt. Go to a McDonald's and have them videotape.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Go to Taco Bell. I'll have a taco with no meat, no lettuce, and no tomato. So you want a taco shell?
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Culver's, I don't know. That's what surprised me at the youth gathering last summer when they were asking people what is their favorite burger place. And Culver's seemed to win over Whataburger and In-N-Out.
Oh, wow. That's high praise.
Yeah.
Well, way to go. The Midwestern burger is the jam, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I do like Five Guys burgers. They're a little pricey.
I've not been to Five Guys.
But maybe because I like their Cajun fries. I'm a big Cajun fry person.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's a good thing we had lunch because all this food talk.
But yeah, it's just a gathering place. People seem to gravitate when we talk food, but that's not really why we're here.
No, I guess not.
Unless we're food critics, which I don't think we are.
Not really. Not at all food critics. And But yeah, we were just wanted to talk about that we are looking to re-engage our effort that we really went after last year around, it wasn't this time. We were gearing up for it. And we kicked it off in October, our re-campaign, where it was really grounded in the concept of the one.
Right. I mean, I have the sermon series here if you want me to share some.
Sure, yeah.
So we start off with reimagine, about how we could reimagine, and we use the story of Jesus healing the blind beggar there in John chapter 9.
Mm-hmm.
Then we went into reengage, which I believe will be the title of this episode of this podcast, is reengage, where we had Matthew 25:31 through 46, talking about when you were hungry, when I was hungry, you fed me. And Jesus also healing the paralytic in Luke chapter 5.
Mm-hmm.
Reconnect, which we had the perfect text for that. At least I'm going to say it was the perfect text of the prodigal son in Luke 15, where the prodigal son reconnected with his father, which is what the whole goal of the one is, to get people to reconnect with their father.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
yes, sir.
Also, the woman at the well.
Another good one.
Yep.
One of my favorites.
We're going to revitalized with Revelation 21. Behold, I'm making all things new.
Mm-hmm.
Then we also had the text you just preached on, Matthew 18:10 through 14, with the lost sheep. And we had the reach, so we're reaching out to people.
Yes.
We also had Acts chapter 1, 7 through 8, witnesses to the end of the earth. And finally, that familiar passage of Ezekiel 37 and the dry bones to revive.
Mm-hmm. Them bones, them dry bones.
Man, are you trying out for the praise team here?
Yeah, maybe. I gotta expand my horizons or something.
Well, you can work on the singing. I can try to pick up playing the guitar. That'd be fun, right?
Hey, yeah, that'd be all right.
But I don't think that would ever happen. I don't think I got the musical chops for that one.
Yeah, so that was last year's sermon series. So we're gonna, kick it around again in worship in October. Probably a 4-week time of just refocusing, re-engaging, reigniting on and kind of get us back into the mindset of accomplishing our mission. That the good Lord has put before us at Emmanuel.
Right, and this whole idea of the one and all of that is also kind of a continuation of the whole idea we had with the joining Jesus on his mission, the whole idea of trying to reach the lost. That's why that Matthew 18 text is perfect, reaching the lost and rejoicing over the one who was lost now being found. And the great thing about the one concept and joining Jesus on his mission is it doesn't really require anything of us as we reach out to the lost.
Yeah, we just have to live our lives with our eyes open and a readiness to participate and come alongside people in our lives who might be curious or may not be curious. And, maybe through our interactions, they might become curious.
Right, and that's the whole goal, is hopefully to invite them to have those conversations where we're not forcing it upon them, but they kind of get intrigued by seeing the different things going on in our life or how we respond to different things.
Absolutely, and that is the key. There's really nothing formulaic over this concept of the one. It's almost too simple, and it's as simple as the gospel, right? Like just, let people know that God loves them, and he came to save the world through his son, and we can surely confess that in the way that we live every day, through the joy that we have in our lives and how we navigate through various pathways of life that people might see in us that maybe they're interested in.
Right, and it's just that simple telling what we know. That's why, we start off with John 9, I believe, and the whole blind man. I love that story where he didn't go into some big theological discourse about who Jesus was. He just spoke to what he knows, and that's the same for all of us, no matter how old or how young you are. Just share what you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think a lot of times people get a little worried about am I going to say the right thing? Well, if you're sharing what you know,
right,
you're never going to be wrong.
And if you're sharing your own experience about how Jesus or God has impacted your life, who's to tell you that you're wrong? Like, you've seen Jesus and God work in your life, And if you would share that with me, how am I going to say, no, you're wrong. That's not how you felt in that moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody can tell you that.
And even if you don't align with perhaps how you're reasoning through that, oh, God must have been involved in some way, it still would be kind of like, well, that's pretty cool.
Right.
That you look at things in that way. And, as a friend or family member or an acquaintance, yeah, I think you wouldn't be like, well, you're
Looney Tune.
yeah, you're on the wrong path or something. Right. But you'd be probably like, hey, good for you, man. And
maybe after time, that person's like, man, there's a lot of instances where you see God working in your life. Maybe I need to start learning more.
Yeah.
It's just open that door. And I think it's something we talked about maybe then or other times that I forgot what book it was I read in SEMF or something when I was on Vicarage, my internship, but about the door. Like people are like, the door's either really shut tight, or just a little and more open. And you got to figure out where that person is, kind of where their door is. And if it's almost nearly shut, you don't want to try to jam it through because then it's just going to shut right in your face. Mm-hmm. So you just got to slowly open it more so then they are willing to hear.
Yeah. Well, I know Ron Hutchcraft talked about the 3 open door prayer. Lord, open a door. Lord, let me walk through the door. And then I think the last one was don't shut the door on me or something. Right. And it just is a matter of recognizing, like you say, that there's an opening and the degree of which it is. And give me the words to say, Lord, because I don't want to let the door shut on this opportunity.
Right. And to a lesser degree, you don't want it to shut even more, and where it's not completely shut, but you want to do whatever you can to keep that door opening wider instead of that opening coming narrow and narrower.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's what we just want to kind of reignite. And I know there's some people out there who have kind of grabbed on, we hope, to this concept of the one, because I think that's really when Jesus says, go and make disciples. It's about go live with people and, help them to come back to me, love them, care for them. And so hopefully people are having things that they can share, in their experiences with their ones.
Right. And maybe if there's somebody listening right now that has had an amazing experience with their one and they would like to share, just let PDubs or myself know, because we're looking to get some testimonies to have in worship coming up and videotape them in our studio that we are recording this lovely podcast from right now. But you'll be in a different part of the studio recording.
Yeah, because it's a vast studio. Can you hear the echo, echo, echo?
Yeah, I just...
so big, this studio.
I mean, I can barely see you with how big this studio is.
You're kind of like on the other side of the room, it seems.
Right.
I mean, to us, to you on the screen, it might seem like we're just sitting about a foot away from each other. But no, there is a vast chasm. There is a vast chasm here, that separates us.
Right. We might look into a bigger table here.
Maybe. But yeah, I think hearing the sharing or testimony or whatever, the stories, I think let's hear your stories of what God is doing with you and your one or people in your life that you're hoping to have come know the Lord or return back. That's powerful stuff.
Right. And I think that lends a lot of credence to what we're trying to do, that people say, hey, it's not that hard. It's pretty easy. That person did that. I can do that. And I think, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I think sometimes it might mean more coming from one of the members instead of you or I, because we're the pastors. We're supposed to be like, go do this, or hey, this is a great thing.
Yeah, right.
But hearing it from somebody living it out outside of being a pastor, I think has a lot power in that.
Yeah, and you know what? There's everybody wants a big story, right? I had this amazing thing happen and my one came to know the Lord. That would be fantastic. But over the course of a series of a little interactions that are continual, that builds a big story. So it's like you're really working the fields. Right. And that's the hardest part of this concept is we as people in America, we'd like to see results right away, and then when we don't, we go, I don't know if this is working.
Right.
But in the economy of God, every interaction is building upon the previous one or the one before that, and then in God's timing,
Right.
He'll make it happen.
And I think some of that too is also that, like, in a sense, like you're talking about, it's a slow build for us, but I think that's just a powerful story as well to share somebody, like, especially if you're sharing it time and time again. Like the whole idea about the one is it's something part of our DNA that we talk about our ones with the groups that we're involved with here at Emmanuel.
Mm-hmm.
And then like other people can start to see like those small, like, oh wow, that is just, I see what God was doing there. And yeah, it might have taken some time, but you could see each step of the way how maybe that heart was softening or how the door is opening just a little wider, which I think has that kind of like long play, but you see it unfold in front of your eyes instead of just like, bam, it happened immediately, where you don't have that story.
Right. So it takes patience, takes some work, but if you ask God to just show you, He'll bring you encouragements,
Right.
And I mean, for me and my one, I would say we're probably in a season where we're not really seemingly outwardly making lots of strides,
Right.
but we're still seeing each other here and there and having conversation. But I can't really say like, oh, wow, over the last month and a half, my one has really grown closer. They've shown signs here or there, and that's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just being ready for that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
My one, that was, we were talking about something, and then they said something about a TV show, and that started kind of a conversation about faith things and angels and different things,
Mm-hmm.
which it wasn't, necessarily planned, but it was just that kind of, hey, this is kind of an opening.
Yep.
I'm going to just kind of take it and share a little bit. And they were asking questions about the matter. So I was like, this is great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's the beauty of it. That's what makes it intriguing because, it's not like high pressure stakes. As PD said, you're in it for the long run, the long play. And God will show, bits and pieces of encouragement or breakthroughs. And
Right. And don't be discouraged if it feels like you're taking one step forward and two steps back.
Yep.
Like, it's not always a forward march, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
There might be some setbacks, or maybe you mess up, or you strongly word something in the wrong way.
Yeah.
And it kind of takes that person aback and like, well, maybe I don't want to hear as much.
Yeah. And, let's face it, it's easy to become a bit discouraged.
That's what the devil wants.
Yeah. And maybe your one is like not receptive during periods of time, and they kind of maybe share that with you. And, well, just don't let that knock you out of the water or discourage you so badly that you stop. But just, listen to what they're saying and why they're saying it. And then, maybe they're just looking for a little space.
Right. And it's just taking those opportunities, being patient, and just living life with that person. That's what it's all about. And then it's also about celebrating the one that is found. You preached about that this weekend a little bit,
Yep.
and we did with the sermon series last year.
Yeah.
And you talked about the story about finding your wife's missing diamond. And,
Yeah. Yeah, that was something. For those who didn't hear worship with us last weekend, in short, my wife Gwen one day realized that her main diamond on her wedding ring, well, I guess it would have been her engagement ring. She corrected me after, because I knew I was messing the story up a bit. The main diamond on the engagement ring, which she then had attached to the wedding band, so they were all ones to me. So it gets lost, right? And we're looking everywhere. And it was right before we went to seminary in Fort Wayne, and we were just kind of sadly, resigned to that we lost it. And so she didn't want to walk around with a wedding ring with no diamond on it. So what she did was she went to the jeweler, and this is the part I didn't remember. She had it separated from the wedding band. so that she could just wear the wedding band. And then she put the engagement ring portion in her dresser. And that's how I was able to get it to the jeweler without her knowing. Because I was like, as I was telling that story, I'm like, how did I get it away from her so that she wouldn't know,
Right.
And that's where she helped me out after the weekend. But anyway, so we kind of resigned to it. I bought her a new diamond ring after I saved some money as a seminarian and then got it. And she was very pleased and thankful and happy. And then we went back home to our house that we were trying to sell in Algonquin, and we're cleaning out. And then through that cleaning, I found the original diamond in the bathroom. The one that had the flooring completely redone. Like if you would have seen what that bathroom looked like before we laid down the new tile, and like, what? How did that stay in there? And because that was just a mess in there. And so we found it and rejoiced gladly because of what was lost was now found.
Right. And like I kind of, after, you shared that, I started thinking about what last week, my parents came over. My mom wanted to find something in the basement, like some Halloween decorations. And so we had to move some stuff out that was kind of blocking it. And then like my parents like, well, whose box is that? Is it your is it Ma's or is it yours? I'm like, I don't know. It's probably Ma's. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, then my mom looks, she's like, that's your stuff in there. I was like, is it? I'm like, well, I wonder what's in there because, I haven't looked at that box in 7.5 years. Mm-hmm. It's just been in the basement since I moved back up this way. And I started, I was like, oh, it's pictures that I had in my office at my first church of whether it was the confirmation photos of the classes when I was down in Salem or the group mission trip pictures. I was like, well, this is from my office. I wonder if the Frank Thomas autograph one of my members got for me is in this box because I'm like, I haven't seen it. It wasn't in my house where I had my other baseballs autographed up on display. I was like, I bet it must be in this box. I've never found this box before or didn't know where it was. And I'm like, lo and behold, there was the Frank Thomas baseball. Obviously not as valuable as a diamond or as special. But I was like...
But to you it was.
I was like, oh, that's awesome. I'm like, I finally found out where this was. So I was like, I'm going to go put this in, up by my other baseballs autographed in my office at the house. And so it can be part of that. So it's not alone anymore in the basement by itself.
Yeah.
But it's just like that joy you have when you find something lost, which I can only imagine the joy that is in heaven that Jesus talks about there when someone lost comes to faith.
Yeah, there's great rejoicing. And that's what kind of drives us, right? Like, who wouldn't want that to experience that rejoicing over someone they know and love so much to come to know the Lord? Like that's got to be enough to motivate us.
Right. Like I always think about that idea, and I think, I mentioned it a few times when we were preaching last year during the Re series, like what joy will be if that person that was your one or somebody you witnessed to that you never knew what their faith was, you see them in heaven. Right. What a joyful reunion that will be where you can realize the seed that was planted grew into faith so that they are now in heaven.
Right. Well, on the other side of it, one of our commentators that I like to listen to, he was given the example, and I think I shared the example at one of the services. I didn't do it at all. Like, he's like, if your net worth was worth $100,000 and you lost 1% of that, that would be $1,000, right?
Right.
Would you be just like, I lost it? Or would you be kind of like, I got to find that $1,000. I got to find it. I think most people would be like trying to get after it to find it. But I think sometimes when we, like look at people who have drifted away from the faith that we know really well, I think sometimes we have this, nothing I can do.
Right.
And we just kind of like, okay. And so, like, that's when he said that, I thought to myself, man, I'm going to be honest with myself. I've kind of been that way in my life sometimes. Like, hey, I've tried. I don't think I can change them. Well, it's not us that's the bad first thought is like, we're not changing them. Right. God is. And you just never know how and when. So That's the motivator.
And I think that kind of speaks to when we were talking about the journey of following Jesus or the discipleship, where you get to that kingdom apathy. Mm-hmm. If I remember correctly, the off-road for that is that apathy. And that's kind of what that is. Is like, I can't do anything. And we got to change that mindset of like, what can I do to help that person come back?
Mm-hmm. It becomes like, oh, this is too hard of a struggle, because it can be hard, like to actively keep that in your mind and be aware and attuned to all of that. It takes some work. And then like when you're really trying real hard and you don't see the efforts, it kind of just bums you out.
Right. And that's all the work of the devil. He wants us to just think there's nothing you can do. You might as well just give up. Because he doesn't want that person to be saved and come to know Jesus.
Right.
When we are trying to work to reconnect them to Jesus, or connect them even maybe for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's there's a lot going on inside of, like, when you get serious about it, then there's someone who's trying to like stop you.
Right. I can't remember if we talked about this, how it's that spiritual battle, that cosmic warfare, that it's not just something, it's a huge thing.
Right.
And it's kind of humbling to think that God wants to use us to build his kingdom. Despite all of our flaws, our insecurities, God uses us and the people he places in our life.
Yeah.
That was the always thing that stuck to me with the journey of Jesus on his mission, is like, you live where you live because God placed you there for a reason.
Yep. Man, I think of that every now and again. I'm like, all right, Lord, you obviously brought us back to this location after we left seminary and came back. Who am I supposed to be reaching here? And I think it's everyone nearby, every opportunity. Like,
and it might be like we were saying earlier, a long play. Like, I think of, not that this is like faith related or trying to reconnect somebody, but the whole idea with the not gathering place, but the community meal. Mm-hmm. As a high schooler working with Mary, who started the community meal, I never thought, 15 years later, we'd be partnering and serving meals at Emmanuel. Mm-hmm. I knew Emmanuel was in high school, but it never was never been here. Yeah. Didn't even know where it was in Palatine.
Yeah.
But who would have thought then 15 years later, that connection of something long ago is now playing fruits in the kingdom of God. Mm-hmm. And the same with why we live where we live, or the people God places in our lives. Maybe for a season or extended seasons, we don't have any interaction, but then all of a sudden it comes back. Because I'm sure you've had that with friends where maybe you haven't talked for a few years or something, but then when you hang back out, it's like nothing's changed, and it's just those old habits, and everything sinks right back into place, falls right back in place.
Yeah, I had similar conversations, about faith, and maybe it was precipitated by me being a pastor at my 40th high school reunion. Some conversation I had with people at this reunion I never had, or hardly talked with, some of these people. And it was like, the long play or the long run, God just brought that event back, and a time in our lives where we're a little older and we've experienced life a little bit, so we can have these conversations. And it was kind of neat. It was like, wow, I never really talked to that person to this level before.
Or you didn't know maybe that person was a Christian, and so it was like, oh man, I would have never guessed it. Mm-hmm. But, we don't know how God's working.
Right.
He's working behind the scenes, and we just have to be mindful and keep our eyes open for those opportunities.
Yeah. I don't know, I'm hearing this Eagles song, "In the Long Run."
Not as familiar
Not an Eagles fan?
Not really.
Somebody's with me out there. Ooh, I want to tell you it's a long run.
I would try
It's a classic.
I would try to splice it into the podcast.
No, you don't need to do that.
But I think that we might get copyright issues.
Probably. Mm-hmm.
I don't want, the Eagles coming after us here.
No, I think they're probably on their final farewell tour, probably their 21st farewell tour. Who knows?
Weren't they the ones when hell froze over they were going to stop or something?
Probably, yeah. So, but I did hear something that they're winding down finally. One more year.
And that will turn into another year.
Yeah, exactly. So, But yeah, we hope that, just this little chit chat about our ones, can reignite or gain some refocus for you all who are listening. And if you haven't even thought of the concept, maybe it opens up your mind to look at some people in your life. And the key there is just pray the Lord would show you who your one is. Because I think that's the other thing that I was struggling with this concept in the beginning was like racking my brain who my one is.
And even if you don't have one right away, that's okay.
It's all right. Yeah, God will make a way.
Right.
And then you'll know. And then it's like, okay, game on.
Right. Got to get off the bench here.
Yep.
Put on my uniform and go.
That's right. Just like Pete Crow Armstrong of the Cubbies last night. He got called up from the minors. And you know what he was called to do? First thing, PD?
Run the bases?
Yes, he was a pinch runner.
So he's pretty quick from what I hear.
Oh, yeah. They sent him on a hit and run. And
did he get thrown out?
No, he made it to second. So
Ooh, he made it to second base. That's impressive.
And then, you know what they made him do?
Did he have to go to third?
Steal third.
Well, that's a risky steal at third. How many outs were there?
One.
Okay, good, because you don't make the
don't,
first.
Don't make the Cardinals the rule.
Yeah, just first or third out at third base.
Yes, so he did a little swim slide, head first. Yeah, like you start with one hand and then you pull that back and put the other one in.
That almost sounds like a Javi Baez type of slide.
Well, it is.
El Mago.
It was an El Mago type of slide. And it looked like he was going to make it, but I mean, the catcher threw it right to the bag, and somehow the third baseman who was playing deep made it over and like grabbed the ball right at the bag and touched him. And so oh well.
His career's over.
Yeah,
Armstrong.
I know.
Did you hear the interesting fact about him?
No.
So do you remember the movie Little Big League? So the mom in that movie is his mom in real life.
Get out of town.
No, I am being dead serious. I am.
I'm going to be like Elaine Bennis and push you.
Push.
No way.
Yes. There was a picture on Twitter where it's like her and the... But yeah, the mom from Little Big League is his mom.
I saw him hugging his mom after the game. I would have had no clue.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen Little Big League since I was a kid.
30, 40 years ago, huh?
Well, I was in the 90s sometime.
All right.
So not 40 years.
Yeah,
I always think of that in like Rookie of the Year, the movie with the kid that pitches for the Cubs.
Yes,
I had one friend that was a huge Cubs fan that hated that movie. He's like, are we that pathetic that a 12-year-old can pitch on our team?
That's what that's saying.
That's what they say think of us Cubs.
I know.
But in the 90s,
Yeah.
it was a bleak time before 98 and the cheater.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, thanks for joining us today, and hope you have a blessed day in the Lord.